Hey, what's up, everybody? Christian Brindle here. Welcome back to another episode of the Seven Figures or Bust podcast, the number one podcast in the world for growing your insurance business to seven figures. Um, I'm joined with a fantastic guest, somebody who is a friend, somebody who I've gotten to know over the last couple of years, someone who is super, super smart, super innovative at kind of trying and testing new things out of kind of growing the agency that he's a part of. I have Cameron Giardini in the building.
Ooh.
Well, not really,
Hello.
not physically in the
Yeah,
building, but virtually in the building. Cameron, how are you doing today?
I'm doing very good. Like I told you before, that I'm glad my neighbors are cutting down a tree during a podcast, but I'm ready. I'm focused.
You just laser focus in and pursue
Yeah, if I hear
through
my
it, right?
fence crash down, we're good. Let's go.
No biggie, no biggie.
Nope. No, everything's good though. Can't complain.
Love it. So a lot of people watching this might not be familiar with you. They
Hmm.
might know you from the Facebook groups, and kind of see
Yeah.
your snide little comments from time to time.
Yeah, I'll take snarky, smartass. It's fine. It's fine. However you want to phrase it. I've heard it.
Um, but maybe they don't know Cameron, right? Like
Mhm.
maybe they're familiar with your name from the groups, but maybe they don't know you as well. Um, give us a little bit of an introduction. How did you get into the Medicare game? How did you
Yeah.
get into the insurance business?
That is a good question. So, kind of like you, as somebody that grew up, my dad did insurance, my mom did insurance. It didn't really mean anything to me. It was, my parents do insurance. It's like, what is
Same.
that? They did disability. My dad did disability insurance. My mom was more on life insurance, pretty much any type of insurance. So I always came from that, and I was like, no chance I'm doing insurance, right? It's so boring. I'm going to be an astronaut, a doctor, whatever it is, but not insurance, obviously.
Hmm.
So, obviously, fast forward, went to college, pre-med, was going to be a doctor. I studied for the MCATs for about a week, and I was like, there's no chance I'm going to keep doing this. I had talked to doctors that just said, hey, it's not worth it. The field is just, it's not what it used to be. So I basically was like, all right, well, 5 years of college because got to go an extra year, being at Central Michigan where I was. But I just stopped. And then my mom was like, well, you got to do something, right? You can't, what are you going to pivot to? You're not going back. You're not going back to college. So at that point, she was again doing insurance and she was like, hey, somebody always told me to do Medicare. And I was like, okay, I don't even know what Medicare is, right? I was 22, I think. Why would I know what Medicare is? And she connected me with them. Long story short, is basically just selling D-SNPs to people. Um,
Hmm.
don't, they were like, here's a diagram, A, B, C, D. You're selling C, help them out. They didn't tell me anything about Medigap. They told me nothing about anything really. It wasn't bad. They said if somebody has a supplement, don't ruin it, don't mess with things, make sure they're in a better plan. But it was very little information. They said, go out to these people, go to Flint, Saginaw, Michigan, and sell D-SNPs. So I did that. And then I went back to my mom with that. I was like, hey, this is kind of interesting, the Medicare thing. And she started to look into it after, again, she had no interest in Medicare before. I was like the guinea pig. And then we kind of just both took off from there. And she was like, all right, let's start selling Medicare. And then now we're here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, that was like 7 years ago.
And you guys have built a great business, really.
Hmm.
And you built a great online following. You guys both are really active and engaged in content creation. You on the
Yeah.
YouTube side and her, I think, on TikTok, right?
Oh yeah,
Um,
for sure. She's grown. She's at like 80,000 on TikTok for followers. So
wow.
big.
Wow. I mean, one question that I was super curious to ask you is like, as somebody, we come from the same,
Mhm.
school of Knox, if you will, right? Having, working with parents and things like that. I don't work with my dad anymore, and we bought
Yep.
his company a couple of years ago now. But um, for me, I it was a challenge for me to work with my dad. We butted heads a
Yeah.
lot. We didn't look at things the same way, and it was definitely hard. You guys seem to work really well together.
Hmm.
What do you think is the key to that? Do you guys just think alike? Is it simple? Is it as simple as that? Or What is
No,
talk about that?
no. I don't think I could work with my dad either. So sorry. Well, he's not going to watch this, but he probably knows that. Um, yeah, it's actually, we probably think exactly the opposite on almost everything. So I think that works. The thing is, we do trust each other, obviously. I think she's my mom. I'm her son. Hopefully, there's no, in this business, we've all been burned, but I don't
Hmm.
think my mom will do that. So it's nice to
Yeah.
have opposite train of thoughts, but also being on the same team and being on the same side. And it's also my siblings have worked with us and friends and family kind of. So it's always been people I've been close with. But my mom is definitely like go talk to people. Just I don't know how to put it. She just kind of goes out on a whim and just does things. And I'm more, sit back, analyze things, look at the big picture. And she's like, all right, I'm just gonna go. I'm gonna write business. I'm like, let's look at I'm the one who told her to do TikTok for that reason. I'm like, all you do is you blab all day. Like you just talk. So like
Yeah.
do that to your camera, right? And she can't do the long form videos with YouTube like I do. So I think our strength is that we are so opposite on almost everything.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's nice too when like there's trust there and your strengths
Yeah.
complement each other. And it probably helps, the business have just different layers
Mhm.
and different dynamics more than anything
Definitely the
else.
trust because gosh, yeah, there's not many people you can rely on 100%, but it's nice
It's
to be able
true.
to.
Yeah. I mean, despite any differences my dad and I would have in terms of like what we thought we should do or the ideas or
Hmm.
anything like that, the trust was always there and that was big. Like I think
Yeah.
it's nice, especially to work with a family member because there's probably the least likely person to screw you over. Um,
Yeah. And we got in at the same time, I guess, which is a little more unique with she did insurance for decades, but the getting into the Medicare space, it was both of us. Like I just remember saying, I remember figuring out about Medigap plans. I'm like, did you know there's a Medigap plan? Like, what the heck? And that
yeah,
was, like I said, several years ago. And she's like, no. And then we would just kind of go back and forth. So I think learning together added that unique aspect of the, mother son or the parent child relationship. Whereas most people come in where their parents more established in a
yeah,
business.
yeah, and they're set in their ways and just want to do
Yeah.
things their way. Yeah, it's
I'm sure your
def
dad was not gonna hear anything you had to say on
no,
innovation or
still
yeah.
doesn't. Like results don't matter. Like it's one
No,
of those things. But
you're still
um,
just as a little kid, right?
that's
It's
right,
like,
that's right. Um, you guys being in for 7 years, your business has grown a lot.
mhm,
You guys have a great business and established. Um, What do you feel like has been the key outside of you guys working
mhm.
well together? I think that's super valuable. But what has been the things that has really helped your guys' agency take off, you think?
Um, Part of it at the beginning, I would say, was the connect. My mom had connections with people just in other industries, whether it's financial advisors or other people that were in financial services, insurance. So we had a decent referral base. I mean, nothing like we have now, but that was a good way to get on our feet. I think at the beginning, we had each other. We had a lot of people, my siblings, other people like I talked about. We had a good way to learn quickly and we had just financial security with it. I don't know. I wasn't going out on my own trying to support a family, with just staring down a list of leads. Like, what do I do? It was always something that was a little bit more easy for us, I guess, to start. So I feel for people that, have a lot more riding on those first couple of years. But that was part of it. And then as we grew, like the way we grew, I think successfully for us was we only did stuff that we wanted to do. So we would try things like me, like D snips. I was fine at it. I sold a few a day, you call people, you schedule an appointment, go to their house, but I hated it. I just don't want to see, I don't want to see people in person. I really just, it's not the way I would not be in this business if that's still what I was doing. And, Joanne was good at webinars. So we kind of gravitated towards things that just worked for us and that we truly could see ourselves doing long term. Instead, like she would never cold call, she would never call a lead. It just is not something we would do. So we had to figure out ways to work towards what we wanted to do and what our life had, what we wanted our life to look like in this business.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. And I think that self-awareness is big, to know like
Mhm.
how do I want to do business? How do I want business to come to me or me come to it or anything like that?
Hmm.
I think
Yeah,
that's
we wanted
pivotal.
inbound traffic. We're like, we want to be at home. We don't want an office. We just want people to call us. And the only way to do that is, we got to the content side of things and referrals. That's really the only way you're going to successfully have that inbound traffic, I think.
Yeah. So let's kind of dive into the content a little bit. You and I have obviously, exchanged notes
Hmm.
about content creation for quite some time now. Feel like a couple of years now, and
Yeah.
I would say, if I'm being completely honest and transparent, I think you're probably better at it than me in terms of like making it look, as good as possible. I
Yeah.
I'm probably more of like I just want to get as much out as possible and like, just, post, 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 post.
Hmm.
But like, I've gotten better at the details of everything. But what was the like when you started doing online content and videos and YouTube, what was the biggest learning curve for you, would you say?
Um, well, there's, I guess definitely the initial setup. It's like what camera, what lighting, and then you do it and you think, okay, I spent all this time and I put all this research into it. I've got the perfect setup. And now God, I would never look at the videos I did, 4 years ago. So no matter what you do is going to be terrible. Um, but that is the biggest hurdle is trying to tweak it and figure out, okay, what do I shoot on? What do I record on? And how do I get this out there? And then once you do that, I know we talked about it, but then you have thumbnails on YouTube, you have all this stuff. There's just things you don't think are important become hurdles where all of a sudden you're spending 10 hours on a thumbnail. And then a week
Yeah.
later, you're like, wow, that was terrible. I clearly should have done this. So I think that was it for me, be just kind of being more analytical.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think, for me, specifically on YouTube, it's been one of those things where like you just have to start, right? Like you just have to
For sure.
to get started, you just have to start. And
And just know it'll be terrible. I promise,
yeah,
like awful.
like
Even if it's good, it's awful.
my first videos were consumer videos on our other channel, and
Mhm.
like they're so horrifically bad. Like they're filmed with my phone. Like
Yep.
they are like this video of me in front of a whiteboard, and like there's a stand that can't hold it up right, so it's like crooked, and like
Right.
you can't hear me. There's no mic. I'm like, hey everybody, how's it going today? Like
And you'll still get comments where somebody's like, "That was so good," and you're like, "I
I'm
forgot
like
that video exists."
I know I'm like first of all, it wasn't, but thank you. Like
Exactly.
um and then over time, right? Like you just learn, you just figure it out, like, oh, like I need a better camera. Let's get a better camera,
Hmm.
and you just like for me it was like I went from phone to webcam to like a real camera.
Yep.
And then
Exactly.
like microphone wise, I went from phone to like a clip mic to like a Yeti mic to the mic I use now, which is this one.
Yep.
Um, and I think that's a big key to it too, wouldn't you say? Like, is just trying to just continuously improve the video quality as you go.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I think I had the same progression, phone to camera to whatever, and then I remember having an overhead, a fan light, like a kitchen or a room ceiling fan basically as lighting. And now I'm just like, what the heck was I doing? But yeah, it's just about progression. I look at videos from 2 months ago I did. I'm like, that was horrible. Like why did I do that? So every single time, my last video is always my worst video to me. I'm like, next one's gonna be better. Next one's gonna be better. But that's where I admire you, where you just put stuff out. Like whatever, it's my lighting was slightly off. I'm like, Christian is just putting it out there, and that's all
Yep.
that matters.
Yeah.
And that's where other agents too. It's like ours all started from, as when you're an agent or if you're a good broker and you're actually doing Medicare Advantage and Medigap and actually going through the differences between the two, it's hard, right? Mentally to be like, okay, A, B, this is this, there's two sides. Like that gets exhausting. So the only
Hmm.
reason we even made content was because I just couldn't keep talking about that to the same, you get on a 4 o'clock call and they're like, well, what's this? What's Medicare Advantage? Then the 5 o'clock call has the same thing. I'm like, I can't do this. So the whole point was just recording a Medicare Advantage versus Medigap presentation to send to people before we talk to them. So it's like,
Yeah.
watch this, and then we'll go over the questions. And that sounds bad to some people because like, well, you need the personal touch. It's like you do not need a personal touch for a Medicare 101 presentation at all. It is the same
No.
exact information. And then you give the personal touch of now what does this mean for you based on your questions and your needs. So that's where it all started. It wasn't to be on YouTube. It wasn't anything. It was just I'm gonna quit if I have to keep doing this conversation over and over. So other agents can use the same thing, just if it's personal content, however you want to look at it. It's not about making content, being a content creator. It's just about using it to your advantage.
Yeah, agreed. 100% agree. There's so many videos that we've created specifically so we don't have to keep explaining it. Like
Oh yeah.
on the consumer channel, there's endless stuff, right? Like how to apply online, Medicare 101, all that stuff.
Yeah,
But
where to
like
find your number, anything like that.
all of
Irma,
all of
just
that
any
stuff.
any repetitive. If you ever repeat something multiple times in a week, it should be a video every time.
Yeah, agreed. 100% agreed. Like one video on the agent channel that I've gotten so much use out of
Hmm.
is like, and I'm so happy I have this video because I feel like I never have to train an agent again on how to do a presentation. Is there's a video
Mm-hmm.
training them on how to do a presentation and then doing a presentation on a whiteboard. And like that video has saved me so many times because I get that question 15 times a week. How do I do a presentation? I don't know how to explain this stuff. I'm like, here you go. I had one guy one time be like, you know, well, haven't you changed things since then? This video was like 2 years ago. I'm like, no.
No.
I mean, I've changed the Part B premium. That's about it.
Yeah,
Like
because
in
you're
the
not
present.
getting into the details. You're not saying this carrier has this benefit, and it's a one-on-one presentation. So
Yeah. Yeah.
it's evergreen.
I think that's such a hack that I wish like more people would get, because it's exhausting answering the same question and explaining something
Mhm.
so complicated, like you said, that Medicare is to someone that knows nothing about it over and
Yep.
over and over. Like it's debilitating. It's draining.
And they don't learn it that way. And it's not an easy way to learn. Who's going to sit at, it depends if you're in person or if you're on your phone. But if somebody explains something to you, like whether it's taxes or finances, you really come walking away like, wow, I know everything now. Like you forget, you go have
Hmm.
dinner and you forget. So if they have that
Yeah.
video, they can go back to it. It's a game changer because and people think, like I said, it's impersonal or whatever. And like they're looking at you, you're talking to them. They can pause it. They can scribble notes. Oh, what did Christian say it? That part. Let me go back. And they really reinforce it. And I tell people too, I'm like, if I had to give a 101, any type of presentation right now, I would miss something, a key
Hmm.
part of something. Like whenever you say something, you're like, wow, that was really good how I said that. So why not record it at your best? And then that way you're always saying the best stuff instead of like, oh, I should have said that. Dang it.
Yeah. I think what you just said there that I want to reiterate so that everybody listening gets is like you record it at your best. That's
Yep.
so true because if you record it and you record it very well and you make sure it was a real good take, and you like it, you did it
Hmm.
extremely well, you're never going to trump that. Like any presentation you do again, you're never going to do it better. So like
Yeah,
I
maybe you
told,
had that one analogy. You're like, wow, that was good.
yeah, like I tell agents all the time where like I'll have a training on something and they're like, well, it'd be nice if you did a in person. I'm like, or like a live one for me on a Zoom or something.
Hmm.
I'm like, the training
Yep.
will not be better than the one I did. It's not going to happen because I did it at my best there. So I'm like, I'm
Million
here
percent.
and you're going to get it here, because it just is what it is, like you're doing yourself a disservice by not watching the video.
Yeah, it's that easy. I mean, it's the only way we've grown. There's no way we'd be where we are without the content we've put out there. So, and it's kind of what made us learn more too. It's like, okay, if I'm going to educate people on Medicare topics, I need to learn everything. Or, if I spend a ton of time just deep diving into stupid stuff, as people on Facebook probably know, where I'm like, found this regulation that says this rule, but it's like, it all comes from the content. So,
That
yeah,
was going to be the next question I was going to ask is like, you
yeah, go
know,
for it.
you know so many obscure random things.
Yeah.
Like I thought I knew a lot about Medicare and like little tiny things and like, but then when I got plugged into the Facebook groups and like there's a couple of others, but like you're one that definitely comes to mind where it's like, your knowledge base of what you've taught yourself is just like vast. So like is that mostly just for content ideas to kind of research then that kind of depth, or is it like do you genuinely be like, I want to know everything I can about
Yeah, I mean, I'm a freaking nerd for sure. So that's a lot of it. I like I can't tell people things if I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm not the salesperson to be like, yeah, I'll figure it out as I go. Like, no, I need to know what I'm talking about. So it just comes from somebody, the first time you hear about Irma, it's like, I guess I'm going to learn everything I need to know about Irma, right? And
it?
when I
Yeah.
find it, I save it. It's like that's the key. I have a Google Doc of 100 pages with links where it's like, and I'll type it out. I'll say, I found this about Irma. There you go. Then you can search for it on that document. So that's a big, I don't really remember the stuff. I just have it saved.
You just have it saved and referenced in a good spot.
Yeah, and so Control F, you can search for things. I'll say like, I found this is the list of life-changing events, and here's what Social Security says about it. It's like it's all saved. Then here's a link to the regulation. So once you find something, save it because things don't really change that much in Medicare.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Like I remember like the game is Med-Sup versus Medicare Advantage. And it's
Yep.
exactly what it was when I started 10 years ago, like
Oh my gosh, I know.
it's like the little tiny details change very small from time to time, but like it very much is the same thing. Like once you got it down, you kind of got it,
Hmm.
like and for us, like once you really get it, you have such an advantage when it
Yep.
comes to selling because the client needs to know the information, but also it is super confusing. It's like I've always said like Medicare is, the difficult product to learn, but once you got it down, it really is a pretty easy sell.
For sure.
Where like life insurance, like it's so like anybody can understand life insurance. You die, you get some money, like
And it can change more too. I think I don't really know. I don't know anything about. I've only done Medicare. I don't. We don't diversify. I guess going back to the agency, like I know nothing about other stuff. That's the other key. Like I just specialize in Medicare. Ask me a life insurance question, I'll sound like the biggest idiot you've ever heard. So
you're like,
like I think
um,
I have it. I don't. Maybe.
what do you think of when you see people that like preach being a full service agency? Do you think that's just a big mistake?
I guess. What do you mean full service? So.
Like the people that are they're trying to do Medicare, they're trying to do ACA, they're trying to do final expense, they're trying to do annuities. Maybe you sprinkle some PNC in there. Like I'm just like you guys are nuts. In my
Yeah.
opinion. In my opinion.
I think who's doing it depends. Like if you have a decent size agency and you have like Greg does PNC, fine.
Yeah.
But if
That's a
everybody does
winner.
everything, more power
Yeah.
to you. But
Like one person trying to do everything. Like I see new agents do this all the time. Like
yep.
they'll have like a job. They just got their license. They have
Hmm.
two or three lines of licenses. I'm like, why? Why do you have your PNC? Why do you have? He's like, I'm taking my test for my Series 7 now. I'm trying to be a notary now. I'm like, what are you
Which is
doing?
fine if you're selling policies while you're doing it, but if it's stopping you from even selling a couple plans, it's like, yeah, exactly. Just get out there
Yeah.
and sell plans.
Yeah.
If
So what
if you're doing 20 a month and you're like, I want to dabble in something else, go for it.
yeah, that's
But
fine. That's fine.
if a lot of, I don't know, I won't get into that, but
Yeah.
yeah, just do something good and then move on.
What is Cameron Giardini's view of the Facebook groups? Because you're infamous in them.
Yeah.
What is your view on them?
Uh,
Are they helpful for agents? Are they not helpful? Are they good? Are they bad? Are they
they're definitely
neither?
helpful. No, they're I think a net positive. I question sometimes, but I think information wise, definitely there's a lot I would never know. I don't think without the Facebook groups. Um, I think it would be a lot better if people knew that the search bar exists and you can find your question already without having like that's why I'm snarky because you're saying how does the Part D penalty work? It's like just Google it. Like drives me crazy. But anyways, it's interesting because like agents are so egotistical and just kind of annoying most of the time. So getting them all in a group, it's like there's always going to be some infighting and somebody's always going to posture because there's so many
Yep.
times where I'll put a link to it, like a Social Security, their link that answers the question, and then five other agents will be like, "Well, I think it's this." I'm like, "This is not an opinion. This
I
is
just
reading."
I posted the answer.
Yeah, I'm like, this is we don't need 10 people being like, "I also know it." It's I don't know. They're good overall. You just have to use it for whatever you want. Don't get involved with any drama. I don't care who
Yeah.
wants to go to lunch with who. I don't care about any of it. It's like there's people I hate, there's people I like, and it's always going to be that way. And it doesn't matter what goes on Facebook. So use it. If you're new, definitely use it. If somebody says, go to this FMO, don't like do your due diligence. Don't just go by what somebody says on Facebook.
Yep. I mean, oftentimes too, like, and this even happens in our group, like someone will be like, I'm looking for an FMO. And just out of respect to the person that runs the group, they'll tag them like people will tag them like 60 times. But 90% of the people that tagged them, like, they're not under them.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Unless
like,
you've been with the FMO, like obviously check out Christian's FMO if you're in his group. Like, but again, do the due diligence. I'm saying that, but I'm not full transparency. I'm not under Christian. I don't think we've ever really benefited from each other business wise. So I have no reason to say that, but you should check it out. But just think like, unless they're under the FMO with you, it doesn't matter what they say.
Yep. That's right. That's very true. I want to be respectful of your.
I think, sorry. I was just back to the.
No. I was just going to say, I want to be respectful of your time. I could keep you on here like another hour. I did have one last question I wanted to ask you, though, that I wanted to get to. And that is your mom with TikTok. What do you think is the key to her success on TikTok? Because you said a second ago, right? All you do is blab. All you do is blab all day. But there's got to be something more than that, right? There's a lot of people that blab on TikTok.
I don't think there is. I don't honestly, I don't know. She's like, I guess she's kind of like me. We're just pretty straightforward. We just like talk a lot. We just talk a lot, and sometimes it sticks. And I guess maybe her personality must just hit with some people. But I don't know what she says that's that much better than anyone else. I think anyone can do it.
She's consistent with
she's
it.
Sylvia, so who knows? Maybe that has something to do with it.
I could see that.
Consistency is big. She has her like people. She's like, oh, this person commented. She's always doing. I think consistency. That's got to be the answer. I don't know. I don't even have TikTok. I'm like, I refuse. I'm like, I got YouTube and other stuff. I'm not touching TikTok. It's all you. So she gets it. I'm like, try this, and she just talks to her phone no matter what, and it just works. So
yeah. Where can people connect with Cameron? I didn't even know if you want them to connect with you, but where can people connect with you?
There's no reason to connect with me because I don't sell anything, or I'm not an
sell
FMO.
Anything, you're not recruiting.
There's nothing I will ever gain from any of you people listening to this. I just want to talk to Christian and have you listen. But I guess DM me on Facebook if you feel like it. You can email me at Cameron@gmedicareteam.com. But yeah, there's nothing. You're not going to get anything. So. Contact Christian if you need an FMO. Not me.
Yes. We're here to help. We're here to help with that.
Although I'm not under him, so do your due diligence. As I just said.
I appreciate you coming on and doing this and sharing some good insight. And I appreciate it. It's always a fun conversation.
Like and subscribe, people. Come on.
And if you made
Christian
it this far
puts out more
end,
than anyone else. This is crazy.
What are you doing? What are you doing, guys? Like a majority of you are not subscribed.
Yep. And if you're thinking I'm still not going to subscribe, that just, I don't know. We're done with you.
Click off. We don't want you anymore.
Exactly. There you go. The YouTube trick.
But in all seriousness, guys, if you made it all the way to the end, if you like this video, the only way I'm going to know is if you like the video, comment your thoughts below, subscribe. And Cameron, again, thanks for doing this. I appreciate your time, and we'll have to do it again soon.
You. Yeah, thanks for hosting. Anytime, Christian.
All right, guys. We'll talk to you next time. Thanks for watching, and we'll be back with another episode soon. Later.
All right. Bye.